Hey Explorers, welcome to the Microsoft AI Advent Calendar, the Winter Party Exploration Series. I'm Wesley from the Cloud Explorers, and I'm joining Jeff on the exploration journey of Azure OpenAI. As well as Jeff, I'm not AI expert, and I decided to share the exploration with you. Today it's the day 16th of our journey, and let's see what we are gonna open up. So, ta-da-da-da-da, today it's the day of Whisper. Whisper on Azure OpenAI Service. So before we start, I like to show where we get the documentation from, so from where we are learning. Basically, Microsoft has a very good documentation about the AI topics, so you can follow the instructions there, but we are gonna use this as our baseline for what we are learning. Okay. So what is Whisper? Whisper is a speech-to-text model, and we can use it to transcribe audio or video files into text. It is provided by OpenAI, and it was trained using a large data set in English, using English audios and text. So it's optimized for English language. Besides it's optimized for English, it does not mean that it can't translate from other languages, but the output will be always in English. Okay. In parallel with Whisper, we also have Azure AI speech models, and they kind of overlap some things, but there are scenarios where one or other is recommended. Basically, Whisper it's best used when you have short videos and you want to transcribe them. If you have very big videos, you will be better using Azure AI speech models for that. During my tests, I had a limitation with 25 megabytes of videos or audios. So bigger than that, you are not able to use Whisper, at least now. And as I said, it's best to translate pre-recorded videos. If you want something that's real time, so better also to use Azure AI speech models. So let's dive a bit more deep on the documentation. Basically here we have the prerequisites. I will show you in a moment how what we have created. Here we have some instructions about getting keys and so on. And here the API calls that we can use to Whisper to get the transcription from our audio or video files. Okay. Before we show in practice, it's important to understand a little bit about models. Jeff already explained about it. But Whisper, it's one model. As I said, it was trained using English language, and it's still in preview, and to manage to use it, we need to have our OpenAI resource deployed or in North Central US or in West Europe. So for now, these are the only two regions that are supporting this, mainly because it's preview. Later on, it should be available in more regions. And as I said, it has a limitation on 25 megabytes of file size. Okay. So here I have my research group with a couple of OpenAI services already deployed. I also have a key vault. I'm using the same scripts that Jeff created as a baseline, so I don't need to create them from scratch. So in IT, we need to be smart and reuse things. So why should I create from scratch? And these scripts are also using Key Vault. I will show how they are working later. The model that the OpenAI service that we are going to use, it's the Search 010. And as I said, it's deployed on North Central US. Okay. So if we click here, we have a link. Oh, sorry, not here. If we click here, we have a link to our Azure OpenAI Studio. If we click it will open another window. So this is the main screen. Jeff already showed that. I won't go deep on this. What I want to show is the deployments. So here we can see that we have already Whisper deployed. To create a new one, you need to select the model here. So far as this preview, there is a limited quota for the subscriptions that you have. So you can deploy just one Whisper model per subscription per region. So we can choose the Whisper model here, give it a name, and then we can simply deploy. I'm not able because I have already deployed, but you just hit on create and then the model will be deployed. After it's deployed, we can see it here. Okay. So now returning back to the implementation itself, let's take a look what we are being asked to have. So of course, Azure subscription. We also need to be granted access to the Azure OpenAI service. And we need to have the Whisper model deployed in North Central or West Europe, as I already explained. So first thing we need to do is to retrieve the key and the endpoint. This was already covered by other videos, so I'm not going there. Just to let you know, I have the key vault with my key already stored there, and I will retrieve this with PowerShell when we go to the scripts. Then here, it's setting up then on this environment variables, but as we're getting from key vault, we don't need this. And here we have a REST API call using curl. I will explain a little bit about it later. And here we have the output format, which is basically a JSON file with what was transcribed from the video file or the audio file that we sent. Okay, so now let's go to the code. Basically here I'm using the same script as Jeff. I adapted this to call the Whisper API. So here we are getting the API key from Key Vault, as I mentioned before. Here I have the URL of my OpenAI service. Note that you need to change this on your code for the service that you have deployed. And here you need to specify the name of the model that you have deployed. So in my case, I kept Whisper, but if you gave another name, you should also change this to the name that you gave. Okay. Here we are building the URL. Basically, we have /audio transcriptions under the deployment, and then it will concatenate with the deployment with the model name. And then here we are getting the path of our files. Under the files, I have two. One, I retrieved it from the GitHub documentation from Whisper. I need to find the link. I can share that on the description. And here I have the first video of the Microsoft AI Advent Calendar. So we will use it. We will use Whisper to extract the text from a slice of this video. Okay. Why a slice? Because we have the limitation of 25 megabytes. So here I have the path for this file. And then here I have my curl command. So let's run this and see how it will look like. So it retrieved our key. Now created the object that we'll use to populate the other URL parameters. And here we have the final URL already built. So as you can see, it concatenated with our API base plus the parameters that we just provided. And now let's run the command, the call to the API. It might take a few seconds because we are uploading the video file. And then here we have the answer. So what's up, explorers? I'm Jeff. We have some small mistakes, but it's normal. It's about pronunciation and other things. So I'm Jeff from the Cloud Explorers. Welcome to the Microsoft AI Advanced, should be Advanced Calendar, the Winter Party Exploration Series. So we can clearly see that's pretty cool. Although not perfect, of course, but it translates, I would say, more than 90% with very nice accuracy. So I think it's a very nice tool. Okay, so now why we need curl? We saw in the documentation that we just have the curl command. Usually in the other services, you also have PowerShell and other things. I tried to make it work, but unfortunately, I didn't manage it. So if we run with plain PowerShell, unfortunately, it does not work. Exactly the same parameters, the same URL, but if we use invoke web request or invoke REST method, I tried both. It's not possible to do this with plain PowerShell. What I have managed with help of GitHub Copilot is to build a portion of code that we are using a .NET library to build the code that curl does, but using .NET. So .NET is more powerful for this kind of thing, like web requests and so on. So here we are basically importing HTTP client, creating a HTTP client object, and sending the same things that we sent on curl. I suspect that the problem is with the file. For some reason, it's not uploading when I try it. But if we run this, it will work. So if you need plain PowerShell for whatever reason, you can use as we have here on this example. So I will just run. Let's wait a little bit once again. And then we have exactly the same answer we had when we ran with curl. So I think that's it for today. So stay tuned on the Cloud Explorers channel. There will be more videos coming. I hope you enjoyed this one and have a very nice Christmas and end of the year.